Hey, what's going on, everyone? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? I know, kind of a last minute thing here. Wanted to jump into a stream tonight. Thought it would be a lot of fun. Although you can hear me, because this just shows you how truly prepared I am. There we go. There we go. All right. So yeah, and I just discovered this background track. This should be freaky, right? This background track's actually a little scary. I'm not gonna lie. I just slapped it together on Audition, taken from an Incompetech clip, and I was like listening to it, like, ooh, this is scary. This is super scary. Yeah, I know it went live on 3 Buck Theater first. I forgot OBS had the wrong thing plugged in. So that's my bad. That was my mistake on that one. But I thought this would be a good one. And I just also whipped up this logo. This is a temporary Mundane Mysteries logo, but I thought it was cool. That would be changing. So yeah, this will be a lot of fun. Let me just get one thing up here. So we're gonna be this. I don't know how long this is gonna go tonight. This particular situation with the stream. Is let me just tweet this out. It went out in the okay. So the Discord knows about it, and that's good. And also, let me just tweet it out and post it on Facebook so people can check it out that way. This was kind of a last minute thing, to be honest with you. I was like, I should probably record videos for tomorrow. And instead, I did not. We will be talking about a murder mystery that will hopefully haunt you, frighten you, send you into the abyss of a nightmare, a darkened vision of which you cannot escape, wondering as you climb into your bed tonight, this track playing over and over in your head, if someone is waiting outside your door with an axe or an ice pick, ready to jump at a moment's notice, take you by surprise, and snuff out the life that contains within your husk of a body. All this and more on Mundane Mysteries. Dun dun. I need to get like a better track. I know the track is great. The track is freakier than shit. I'm like already kind of freaked out. I haven't gotten into it yet. Like it's like I'm sitting in a dimly lit room, which is why there's no webcam. And yeah, it's craziness. Hold on. Okay, let me just... And for those of you who... Hold on. There we go. For those of you who don't know, this will be... this will become a thing on another channel. So I have another channel, Mundane Mysteries channel, that's going to be only for streaming these. That will be announced here pretty soon. So you were going to watch a DC animated movie that's going to wait? Maybe. Am I doing ASMR now? No, Miles, I'm not doing ASMR. Although I could get in real close, and I can tell you all how much I think you should donate to patreon.com/MundayMatt or streamlabs.com/MundayMatt. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so Unsolved Masteries, yes. Yes, Jeremy, I agree with you. I'm glad that Brooklyn Nine-Nine is back. We're just waiting a few more minutes, because I just sent the link out. Want to give people a few minutes time. We're gonna be jumping in, but I do think that that it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be creepy. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm excited. I like true crime quite a bit. True crime keeps me really addicted to late night television, and always finding interesting stuff to talk about. So yeah, Rachel, the best way is to have no lights on, exactly, and I have a very dimly lit light, and excited to dive into this. Again, I'm not too sure what we're going to find. I haven't pre-investigated this. I have a story picked. The Jay Cook and Tanya Van Cuylenborg murders. So that's, you know, we're going to be seeing what happens with all this. So there's that. Hopefully we'll get some ideas, get some speculation, get some theories. If you want to follow along in this, by the way, if you want to follow along on your computer and maybe find some stuff, while I'm looking, if you want to get in on the action, how about that? If you want to get in on the action and you find some stuff that I don't see here, that we don't discuss, you can always let me know and send it over to mundanematt.com/submit. You could do that, and then I can find that and we can bring it up. So, Sleet Skate, it is not bad that you listen to these while you're going to bed. So, nah, it's, this is, of course, is Mundane, Mundane Mysteries. I'm not gonna lie. At first I kind of was like, on the title, but I actually kind of like the title. Do I watch Forensic Files? Garrick, yes, I do. I have Sirius XM, and on channel 117 at night, which is the HLN channel, they will run marathons of Forensic Files, and it's just the audio, except there's like commercials every 4 minutes because they're bastards. But I will cruise around at night, and I will just listen to Forensic Files through this radio station and just creep myself the hell out while I'm driving. Because I live in the woods, so I will drive deep into the woods. You know, I will drive deep into the Capitol Forest, not knowing if I'm going to encounter deer or Bigfoot or, you know, murderers. And I'll listen to creepy, creepy stuff to keep me going. That's what I love. Have I watched Seriously Strange? Yeah. I don't have the editing ability to do what Rob Dyke does, but I'm hoping that this is going to be a thing. By the way, this is going to be a multiple time a week, at least 2 times a week thing, and then I'll probably do a patron only one. We'll dive into this too. So there's that. You think your title was better, Rattlesnake? Mundane Matt, was it Mundane Matsteries? What'd you say it was? Have I heard of the West Memphis 3? I have. Yeah, there's been 3 movies made about that too. Unsolved Matsteries. You should buy that fucking domain. If you guys haven't already, there's 50 of you in here right now. If you want to, go ahead, slap on that like. Let's give this thing about another 55 seconds just to let people jump on in who haven't. I want to like give people a few minutes to jump in. Let me get a drink of my tea. Yeah, you probably don't want to hear that. That's okay. Did I find the Blair Witch Project scary? I didn't find it scary, but my God, was I in on the marketing. Holy shit, did I read that website. I've got a story. Okay, I'll tell you guys this real quick because this is kind of funny before we dive in. So back in 1999, before the Blair Witch Project came to theaters, there was a report in a forum on Yahoo that somebody had a bootleg copy of the movie on a CD, right? Or it was on like a CD or something. And I pretended to be like the cousin of the girl of Heather Donahue and tried to like flirt with a guy to get him to give me a copy because I so desperately wanted to see this movie. It did not happen. I don't think he had it. But I still saw it for day one. So, but I really liked Blair Witch Project. I liked it quite a bit. So, all right, we're up 10 minutes. 10 minutes in. This is gonna be good, guys. This is gonna be good. Let's let me bring up my pages here. Let me make sure everything is good to go. That we're ready for the adventure of the evening. And all right, I want to make sure all my other crap is taken care of so nothing gets in the way. All right, bring up Firefox here. Okay, so tonight, guys. Tonight we're going to be talking about Jay and Tanya. Jay Cook and Tanya, I can't remember her last name here. Van Cuylenborg. I'm mispronouncing that. I apologize. And they died, unfortunately. And this is their story. So according to unsolvedmysteries.wikia.com, because this is a good source, believe it or not, Jay Cook and Tanya Van Cuylenborg, no known nicknames, Location, Seattle, Washington. Keep in mind, I'm about an hour outside of Seattle myself. November 18th, 1987. So just over 30 and a half years ago, they disappeared. They died. 20-year-old Jay Cook and 17-year-old Tanya Van Cuylenborg were residents of Victoria, Canada, who traveled to Seattle, Washington, on a buying trip for Jay's father. On November 18th, 1987, they left Victoria and took the 4 p.m. car ferry to Port Angeles. The couple drove Jay's father down Highway 101 into Hoodsport, arriving there at 8 p.m. Now, the thing you have to remember here is there's 2 access points from Victoria, which is on Vancouver Island in Vancouver, British Columbia. Or, well, it's Victoria on Vancouver Island, British Columbia. There is the port to Port Angeles, and there's also the ferry that takes you to Seattle. When you go to Port Angeles, it's really nothing there. That whole upper peninsula of Washington is just forest, predominantly the Olympic National Forest. I went up there over the summer and spent a day not in Port Angeles, but Port Townsend, which is a little bit to the west. And it's a beautiful area, but it's pretty remote. It's pretty remote up there, so it's very wooded. It's very dense. It's what you would expect from a state that is called the Evergreen State. Now, they drove to Bremerton, presumably. It is believed that they then boarded another car ferry and went to downtown Seattle. However, they were never seen alive again. Jay and Tanya were expected home the next day, but they did not call or arrive that evening. Their parents became concerned. On November 20th, the couple was reported missing. Tragically, on November 24th, Tanya was found raped and shot to death in Skagit County, Washington. That's terrible. That's terrible, because her body was bound with plastic wire ties. At first, police suspected Jay may have killed his girlfriend. However, neither family could believe this. Of course, you don't know here. You've got a 20-year-old guy and a 17-year-old girl traveling intercontinental, right? Intercountry, different countries. And she, of course, is found brutally murdered, raped, and shot to death. The next day, the van was found 90 miles away in Bellingham. A Bremerton-Seattle ferry ticket was found inside, the van keys and more plastic ties, along with plastic gloves. Tanya's driver's license and a half box of ammunition were discovered underneath a tavern 2 blocks away. Now, that's always weird to me. When I hear these stories and they say, like, this person's wallet or their identification was found in a very weird location, and it makes you really question, like, how it was discovered. Because you watch movies and TV shows and they show people walking in lines and going through fields looking for anything. And I guess it really does boil down to just manpower and checking under every rock and behind every tree. In this case, underneath a tavern that was 2 blocks away. On November 26, Jay was found beaten and strangled to death, his hands also bound with plastic ties. His body was found underneath a bridge near Monroe. Now, Monroe, if I recall, is a little northeast of Seattle. After the murders and over Christmas holidays, their families were taunted by disturbing greeting cards believed to be from the killers. The cards had taunting descriptions of the murders, and the author claimed responsibility for the crimes. Nearly 20 greeting cards had been mailed over several different holidays, postmarked from New York, Los Angeles, and Seattle. They all shared the same handwriting. However, DNA found on the letters did not match the DNA found on the victims. Police, however, believe the letter writer may have been involved in the murders. Now, one thing that may happen here is, and this has happened before, to make it look like the killer or the person is in different areas, they'll go to an airport and they might ask someone who's traveling to a destination far away, like LA or New York, and they'll ask them to send a letter on their behalf. They'll give them the letter. Now, that could be where the DNA found could have come from. The DNA on the envelope that was not, on the letter. But I don't know. I'm speculating, obviously. Because it says here the DNA found on the letters did not match. But it doesn't say if it's the letter itself or the envelope. Now, as for the suspects, police believe that Jay and Tanya could have met their killer on the ferry from Victoria to Washington, or on the 1020 Bremerton ferry to Seattle. although it is more likely that they met him on the later one. Police believe that the killer asked the couple for a ride and then tried to sexually assault Tanya. It is believed that Jay was killed for being in the way, and Tanya was killed to cover up sexual assault. Which does seem like a pretty apt theory. At this point, it really does. It comes across as like, very much like, oh, I want this 17-year-old girl. I want to do what I want to do with her, but this guy's in the way. And I'm not trying to talk ill about Jay Cook here, but he doesn't look like the most protective of people. He's 20 years old. The guy probably didn't know how to fight. Now, we have to remember about Bremerton. Bremerton has a large naval facility there. Military. So that could be something. I'm not saying that it is, but I'm just saying that, it's possible. Based on the evidence found on Jay's body, investigators believe that the assailant may have done time in prison. His efforts to conceal his identity are indicative of someone familiar with police procedures. Investigators believe that he did make one mistake. It is suspected that he took Jay's waist-length black ski jacket with red piping on the sleeves. He may have also taken Tanya's olive drab day pack and her Minolta 35mm camera with the serial number 2067048. It is possible that someone noticed him with these incriminating items. Police also believed at the time that the person who had written the greeting cards may have had something to do with the murders. One would assume that, and it's possible that they did. But at the same time, when this information comes out, right, when they found the body, they found her and then they found him a few days later, news would have gotten out about this. People would have talked about this, and there would have been a lot of fervor. A 17-year-old girl from Canada who, pretty young girl, found raped, beaten, tied with wire tires, and then shot to death. And her boyfriend discovered days later, beaten to death and strangled underneath a bridge. That's a salacious act. That's a salacious crime. People are going to be talking. And somebody could have known the people, the parents, and wanted to torment them further. There are those kind of sick individuals out there. So that's interesting. We don't quite know. Taking a look here, though, at the actual greeting card. Dearest Jay's father or Gordon Cook, greetings and salutations. Hallelujah, bloody Jesus, I am the happiest human being on planet Earth. In fact, I am on a Michael Jackson victory tour, celebrating my victory, and that's all it really says about that particular thing at the time. But let's take a look here at the writing. It's all in caps, except for when he wants to, except when it's not, which I find to be very weird. And also the writing itself it looks interesting to me because the way that it's written is like they spent time writing it. Like, look at the L here on bloody. Look at how the L comes down and then it loops and then it goes, right? So it's like it's one swift motion. But the E up here on greetings, you can tell, are easily kind of scratched in there, right? Same with the T and the I and the N, and the G looks a little bit different. But you can see on these type of letters, they take less time. But the L, right? The L here seems like one of the only things they spent time trying to get right. Because if you look at the L's are all like that, but everything else feels like it was just kind of written very quick. But it was a very specific and distinct type of writing. You'd be able to recognize that on other cards. So whoever did it, definitely, I think wrote it first, and then, like, in fact, I'm on a Michael Jackson victory tour. Well, this happened, keep in mind, this happened back in 1987. So, Michael Jackson, Beat It came out in like 85, I think. I know the Thriller album was 82. So, I don't know. Now, it says here that unresolved as a result. Several possible suspects have been questioned in the case over the years, including serial killers Robert Yates and Charles Sinclair, both of whom were active in the Seattle area in 1987. How scary is that? Right? How scary is that when you've got two active serial killers in that area of Washington in 1987 at the same time. I mean, granted, they, you hear talks about there being, serial killers act like 1,000 active at any time in this country or something like that. To me, though, it's still absolutely frightening. Right? It's very much creepy that was active. So it says here that in 1990, police located the camera lens that belonged to Tanya's missing camera at a pawn shop in Portland, Oregon. However, police were unable to find any leads from this discovery. Now, that's interesting because it says that she had, what is it? She said she had a 35mm Minolta camera with serial number 2067048. Right? And they found the camera lens at a pawn shop. 3 years later, 165 miles away in Portland, Oregon. Now, in August of 2010, Victoria cold case detectives finally identified the person responsible for sending the disturbing greeting cards. He is a man now in his 70s with severe mental issues. He readily admitted that he was the author of the cards. Police interviewed him for several hours and now believe he had nothing to do with Jay and Tanya's murders. He probably read about the story in the newspaper and sent the cards from there. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought happened. I thought it was somebody trolling. But this is like old school analog trolling. That's some fucking dedication, in my opinion, right there. Don't get me wrong. That dude's a scumbag. Absolute scumbag. But that is some serious grade A dedication. That's some dedication to get to trolling people. When you're sitting there and going like, yeah, I'm gonna send multiple greeting cards saying like I'm the killer and your kid deserved to die. Because that's good. That's good. Now, in April of 2018, actually, you know what, we can jump over this here right here because they have a better article about the possible look here. So it says here, DNA was used to create a digital image released to the public of what the killer could look like. So detectives are sifting through dozens of new tips in the 30-year-old murders of Jay Cook and Tanya Van Cuylenborg, days after digital sketches were released to the public. Now, the young couple from Vancouver Island vanished in November 18, 1987, on about 180 miles into a road trip in a bronze Ford van. And so, okay, you see here they went to Port Angeles, Hoodsport, Aylen, Bremerton, and Seattle. Their bodies are found days later. DNA experts at Parabon Nanolabs, or helped experts at the labs, build digital images of what the killer's face might look like, including hair color, freckles, and skin tone at ages 25, 45, and 65. The pictures were unveiled at a press conference Wednesday in Everett with international media attention. I don't know a lot about these types of digital recreations of what these guys could look like. I don't know any of that shit. I just find it really odd that that they're able to figure that out. You know, like this is what they're able to composite based upon the DNA that was left behind. So it's very odd to me. Okay, Beat It was a 1983 album. Bad would have been 1987. Thank you. I got them confused. Okay. But that would have been the Victory Tour around the same time, but there we go. This guy has Chris Chan marks on him? I guess so. So far, about 70 tips have come in, mostly from British Columbia and Washington, according to the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office. The county's cold case detective, Jim Scharf, hopes to find something that links the face to a piece of evidence from the killings. Many tipsters said the digital pictures look like someone they knew, such as a grocery store worker, and that's hard to work with. But isn't that like the perfect identity of a killer? Right? That's like the perfect identity of a killer, in my opinion, because it's like, oh, it's a grocery store worker. It's someone you're not gonna remember. Just some random guy you're not gonna remember as time goes on. Very odd. Very odd to me. Now, it goes on to say that if all that's being circulated is the pictures, it's not as helpful as circulating the information about what the suspect possessed and what he took from the victims, Scharf said. if we can get an association with the locations of where things happened or what was taken from the victims, those are going to be better leads. Which is true, but it's interesting that this is the county's cold case detective who's saying, like, all that's being distributed is the pictures, but not the information. Now, I've talked about this before in other streams where I've gone through these, and they give very minimal information about the details, the specifics. And I understand why they do that. They don't want to give away too much, so it can either, you know, tip off the killer as to what info they have, or it can, you know, tip off somebody to make things up or something. I get that. I do understand that. And it's very interesting to me that they withhold that information when they need that info to be out there, because those kind of details are what people need. Because keep in mind that we will oftentimes remember certain things, you know, little details, little things, like, and it could be something that connects. So the more information out there, the better. You don't have to give every piece of info, but something there. Now, before the bodies were found, the last clue pointing to the couple's whereabouts was a Bremerton-Seattle ferry ticket stamped for 10:16 p.m. on November 18th. They might have spent the night in the van outside of Gensko in the Soho district, where Cook planned to pick up a furnace parts in the morning, but he never showed up. Now, where is the Soho? This would be the Soho district of Seattle, I believe, right? Okay, so let's look at this real quick. I mean, this, of course, is what it looks like now. Not so much what it looked like 31 years ago. So it's interesting because it was somewhere in this area, right? Where was this? Outside of Gensko. Where is... Let's try if we can find this. Gensko. Okay, Gensko Inc. All right, so this would have been probably, okay, HVAC contractor, permanently closed. Okay, so this is where the furnace parts would have been. Okay, so, you know, this is coming in now off of, you know, let's bring up the satellite imagery here. Let's go in. We're gonna cruise in, just to get an idea. All right, so I mean, obviously populated. Let's bring it up here. Okay, so looks kind of industrial to me, right? It looks kind of, I mean, well, partly that. Hold on, let's go that direction. Okay, we're gonna try to find. Okay, there's Gensko right there. So let's assume that this is a location where it's speculated that they were, that this is where they were at, right? Like, this is speculated where they might have been last. So obviously 31 years ago, it would not have looked like this, but it still gives you an idea that there is, you know, this is kind of industrial. Now you see that there are the streetlights here. Who's to say those streetlights were here 30 years ago? We have no idea. So there's definitely, you know, an idea. If they would have parked back out here, if they would have parked along the well, maybe not parking on the road. They couldn't have parked on the road. Maybe they pulled off to one side or pulled into the parking lot. They could have pulled in somewhere, maybe an alley, because this looks like an alleyway, right? And probably not heavily patrolled at night. Probably not heavily patrolled at all. So just kind of looking at this here, I mean, we can see that the general area in and of itself is kind of the same, right? And so 30 years ago may have been like way more, you know, homeless people, way more crime. I mean, like, just look over here, whatever the hell this thing is. The general, you know, the plant and stuff. It's very industrial. And so it's possible that they could have encountered somebody here that would have definitely gone and been the one to do something about it. So I don't quite know. No, wrong one. But that's where they said that it's possible they might have spent the night at. Now, 6 days later, Tracy's body was discovered off of a rural road south of Alger in Skagit County. All right, let's take a look here at we're just gonna bring that up. Alger in Skagit County. Let's get an idea for what this place looks like. Okay, so, all right, just what to say, just south of a rural road south of Alger. Obviously, you can see here that this is very, you know, very rural area. Not much out here, and this like I probably hasn't changed much in 30 years, right? Let's take a look by the Alger Food Mart. What are we looking at here? I mean, it ain't much. Even this Google map hasn't been updated as much, you know. But it gives you just an idea that there's not much here, you know. So we're going. What direction are we going right now? I think we're going south. So you can kind of see it's just farms, right? It's just farms. Friday Creek Farm. I mean, look how, you know, even the houses are kind of far back off the road, right? A little ways off the road. You know, could have gone out one of these rural roads out here. You know, not much. Could have just, I mean, anywhere to dump a body. You could dump a body anywhere out here. And it could take people a couple days. The thing is, though, but dumping them out here, there we go. Let's reorient ourselves. When you know, these people here, they do pay attention to cars. They recognize a lot of cars. And so it's possible that, like there's a gun shop right here. They said that her info was found by a tavern, right? So it says here that she was raped and shot in the head with a .38 caliber pistol. She was 18. Well, 17 or 18, she's around that time. 2 days later, before Cook's body was found under a bridge near Monroe. All right, so let's look up Monroe, Washington here. So, where is that in regards to Alger? Just to get an idea of how far away, because here's Snohomish up here. All right, to give you an idea, okay, this is his body was found up here in Monroe, right? And this is Seattle, right? And so you can see over here, where is the Harbor Island? We were looking at that, right? So this is where, well, no, it's right down in the industrial district. Let me send a, I can't send a pin, unfortunately. For some reason, okay, so the pin's right there. Well, whatever. But we get the idea here. So first they were over here in Harbor Island area, right, by Gensko, where they were supposed to be at, picking up a part for the next morning. In order to head back over to Bremerton, we can see the travel right here from Bremerton. And this is the ferry line going to Seattle. So they cruised down the 99 and ended up right there. And then his body was discovered all the way up here in Monroe 2 days after Alger. Well, let's see where Alger is. Right now, that's up by Bellingham. That's not too far away from the border, right? Because Monroe is right here. It's right here at the bottom here, and Alger's up here. So whoever drove that van, whoever killed them, probably dumped Jay's body first here, because he probably killed him first. Then drove up to Alger, which is not too far away from the border, and dumped Tracy's body here, and then said that they found her at a tavern. They found her license in a tavern. Maybe we can find what that tavern is that they tell us. But it's just an idea. Just an idea. That's a long way to go. That's a very long way to go. Now, the Seattle ferry ticket was inside the abandoned 1977 Ford van in downtown Bellingham. Okay. Now, where is Bellingham at? Let's take a look here. Okay. So, they found the van in downtown Bellingham. And, oh yeah, look how far away that is from Algiers. Let's just back up here a bit. Bellingham is right up here to the north. So we can now basically see what transpired in terms of a course of action. And I'm sure the detectives figured this out as well. So we've got Seattle. Monroe is, I won't be able to find it where I'm looking because I won't get it all. But Monroe's around this area a little bit south of Everett, right? So dumped Jay's body. Drove up through Everett to Alger, which is just, again, out of the damn way. right off the freeway. So you can see basically he probably exited. I would say, if I could, my mouse would work properly, probably exited, I'd say around here, exiting off of this road, whatever it is, Alger Cane Lake Road. If I'm going to, I'm going to speculate here, and probably drove back out. They said found south on a rural road, so drove out, probably turned down old Highway 99. Because keep in mind, by the way, or he didn't get off the freeway, because old Highway 99, if I'm looking at that, I mentioned that already, because old Highway 99, let's follow it down right here, right? Where does it go? Well, it looks like it went down through Mount Vernon. I might be wrong here. I might be running down the wrong path, because it down here where they found the body in the Harbor District is, oh look here, it's Highway 99. So I don't know if the two are connected. It's probably not. But I just find that interesting that it appears that they went that direction. Anyway, going back to what I'm saying here. I kind of got off track. I apologize. Okay, so went down old Highway 99. We don't have the exact location of where the body was dropped, but it was probably somewhere off one of these roads. I mean, just look at how much space is out here. Right? I mean, just look at all the space that's out here and everything else. You could dump a body out there and it'd take a couple days to find him. Now, when was her body discovered? It was okay, on November 24th, so 4 days later from when they disappeared is when her body was found, and then 2 days after that his body was found. So yeah, her body was found probably because it was, again, in this type of area in Alger here, because it's rural. You can see, like, there's so much, you know, they may have seen something suspicious. May have just been dumped off the side of the road. It probably was just dumped off the side of the road, if you want my honest opinion. It was probably this dude pulled off the freeway here, drove somewhere, had her bound and gagged, right? Beat her, raped her, shot her, dumped her body, and then continued north up to Bellingham. Right now, looking here at Bellingham, you've got, I mean, granted, this is 2018 Bellingham, not 1987 Bellingham, so I don't know what it looks like, but it gives you an idea that there's probably places to go. I don't see any, yeah, Fairhaven, like, look at this here, Fairhaven right here, catch a ferry, the ferry takes you, where's it take you? All the way, come on, shit, I lost it, there we go. Give me a go. This is so... I know, this is lame. I apologize. But I'm sure... Jesus Christ. This is the ferry line. Where's the ferry line go? Come on. We're almost there. I swear to God. We're almost there. I think it's one of the blue lines. Because... Okay, so out of Washington and out of Canada and out of Alaska, there are blue... I forget, it's like a blue line highway. I know I'm mispronouncing it. But... it essentially is like the only way to get goods and people to certain parts of the San Juan Islands as well as north in there. So we're still... okay, this has got to go somewhere. Where's this got to go? Let's take a look here. All right. Well, that went somewhere. That did not go where I thought it was going to go. Okay, let's just say here it's going to go to BC, right? It's going to go to Prince Rupert, Port Hardy, Prince Rupert, BC. That seems more accurate, right? So it's coming up around here. I mean, just looking at the idea of going out. I mean, we've already gone up past Vancouver Island. Just looking at the idea of going out to Bellingham here and getting on this this particular ferry system, if I could find it again, out of Fairhaven. Hold on, Fairhaven. Let's look up Fairhaven. Fairhaven ferry. Let's look that up here. What do we find? Okay, Port Bellingham. Okay, Port Bellingham. Let's see where it goes. Let's find out where it goes, because this could give us an idea. All right. Okay, yeah, Alaska Marine Highway System. This is what I'm thinking here. So, the dude dumped a car in this thing and could have jumped on one of the ferry highway systems and taking him up out of country, because it takes you here. All right, where does it go? I don't want to email them. I just want to see ferry information. Okay. Okay, so the Bellingham Cruise Terminal, Bellingham's historic Fairhaven district, is a southern starting point for the Alaska Marine Highway System, navigating the nation's first marine scenic highway. The ferry departs Bellingham each Friday, transporting passengers and vehicles between Alaska and the lower 48 states. Okay, so this goes specifically to Alaska. All right. They found her body on November 20th, 1987. All right, what day? November 24th, 1987. Come on, tell me it's a Thursday or a fucking Friday. What day? Okay, it was a Tuesday. Okay, fine. So it's a Tuesday. So if this was still running, let's figure out that right now that this whole thing was running on the same thing. It was the Alaska Marine Highway System. Fridays it departs. This is, you know, he ditched it. He did, you know, well, they found her then. Hold on. They found her then on that day. When did they find the car? Let's go back here. Okay. It was found in downtown Bellingham, but it doesn't say the day it was found. That's unfortunate. But let's assume they went missing on November 18th. All right. And on the 20th, they sent the thing in there. So let's just take a look here. Tuesday, November 18th. Can I get okay, let's take a look at the whole of 1987. All right, let's just take, I guess, hold on, November, let's look at November 1980, if I type here, 1987 calendar. All right. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, damn it. All right. So they went missing. They traveled out of Vancouver, BC on, I don't know why I'm doing that. Okay, they traveled out of Vancouver, BC, or Victoria, BC. On the 18th, they were reported missing on the 20th, which means they never made their destination on Thursday, so they were already dead, right? Her body was discovered 4 days later. His body was discovered ultimately a week later from when it's assumed that they had died. But what is this? Oh, they get there that night. They're dead the next day. He kills them, dumps their body, drives it to Bellingham, drops the car off Thursday. Friday morning the 20th, pops a fucking trolley or a ferry and takes it all the way up to Alaska. Now, if you want my honest opinion, this is what I'm thinking here. I'm thinking this guy went down and ditched the car and took the ferry and fucked off. Right? Now, it says that the camera body was never found, but the lens was. Okay, we don't know how it got there. They could never be traced to a suspect, so that could easily mean he could have taken it to Canada or taken it to Alaska, gone up through the marine system. And like I said, there was, you know, they never were able to pinpoint. Okay, like we go to Alaska and the ferry system, the highway system goes up port to port to port, right? I learned this when I went on a cruise to Alaska a couple years ago, which is how I know this. And so that could be how he got out. Could have caught it up to wherever the hell the port is, gone up there, gone into Canada. You know, from my understanding, based upon if they met this person at the ferry system, coming out of, you know, Bellevue, this person was in fact pretty familiar with the marine system and probably was a bit of a drifter. Now, a man's DNA was found in the van and on her body. It was used to generate the pictures that were released. Scarf is chasing down another lead based on a tip that came in years ago. He's looking to talk with thousands of employees of EA Norddor in Everett in 1974. What is EA Norddor? It's clearly not a subsidiary of that. Let's take a look at their Facebook page here, if I can get it to work. All right, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Okay. All right. Is there? Give me something here. What is this place? Okay, glass/doors. So it's just a door company that was in Everett. Okay, as we've seen here, Everett is not very far away. Everett is, yeah, Everett's just a little north, right here. It's a little north of Seattle. Monroe is just a little bit to the southeast. Okay, so this again giving an idea of where things are. Now, he says this could be another needle in a haystack. The victims' families are offering a reward of 50,000 Canadian, which just in case you want to know how bad the Canadian dollar is compared to the American, that's like 30% off of $50,000. So it's 35,000 US is 50,000 Canadian, by the way. For a tip leading to the killer, the reward expires on December 31st. Obviously, this is from a while back, so that's already been expired. Scarf wonders if the murderer might be in a relationship with someone who suspects something. The reward, he said, could be the thing that pushes her to finally come forward. That's a bit of a stretch, but not an old one, not an odd one, I should say. It says that substantial amount of money that can help a woman start over if she wants to get out of that relationship. So if she knows something, she can get the case resolved pretty quickly and get her life restarted safely. So there's that. Like you gotta love the money angle here. It's like, oh, he's clearly got a battered wife somewhere. She can get out. EA hold the door. Is that going to be EA jumping in on the Game of Thrones franchise? Could it be Buffalo Bill? Maybe. So this is the composite sketch right here. The digital composite sketch of what the possible likeness of the killer could be at age 25, age 45, and age 65. Coming in from DNA analysis. Now, doesn't look like anyone I know, but it could look like one of you guys know. We have no idea here. But there's another little aspect of this too that I did kind of find, and it goes back to the idea that there were the two active serial killers, right? The two active serial killers that were available in the time, and so this time takes us here to this article in the LA Times from October 21st, 2000. Talking about more victims of Washington serial killer suspected. Now, Jay and Tracy are mentioned in this article. I just know they're in it. I haven't looked through the whole thing yet. So this is coming out of Spokane, which is eastern Washington, and nowhere near necessarily Everett, Monroe, or Bellingham. So as police agencies around the state are trying to determine if a confessed serial killer, Robert L. Yates, is responsible for more deaths. Yates pled guilty Thursday to 13 murders and 1 attempted murder, but law enforcement officers fear the total could be higher. Saying here, we're not convinced we have all the victims. Investigators from Washington, Oregon, and British Columbia met recently to discuss the Yates case and were puzzled by two large gaps from 1975 to 1988 and 1988 to 1996 in the murders to which Yates pled guilty to. Now, this happened in late 1987. Could have been right around the time he was restarting in that area, right? Now, the 10 Spokane murders Yates pled guilty to occurred from 1996 to 1998, as did 2 Pierce County killings and an additional Spokane death, for which he still faces charges. His other guilty pleas were for the murder of a young man and woman in Walla Walla County in 1975, and for killing a woman in Skagit County in 1988. Now, does Skagit sound familiar? Right? Skagit County is where they found the bodies of both Jay and Tracy. In 1988 is when he had pled guilty to committing a murder. So he was active in that area in that time. And there's that. Well, this guy's from the Pacific Northwest. Why is there a version of him being bald having a ponytail? Because not everyone in the Pacific Northwest is bald and has a ponytail. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I'm balding, but I don't have a ponytail. There is a difference, sir. But I'm just saying that's interesting, right? So he killed a woman in the same region in 1988, very close by. Pronounced skag shit. So in Island County, Yates is a suspect in 1977 slaying of 19-year-old Tracy Helsgrave in Whidbey Island. Yates grew up in Oak Harbor, which is just an island north of the Puget Sound, right? So an island north of the Puget Sound. Now, I want to know, again, he would have an understanding of the Alaskan Marine Highway system and the ferry system. I do believe that plays a heavy part in this. I do believe that. Now, I don't know if it's him, obviously, but it's kind of like if we could find out more about Robert L. Yates and really dive in if he knew about this, Maybe. But I don't know if this guy's a killer or not. This is just an article that I found. Now, so he grew up in the area. He knew the area. Was seen frequenting the area during this time period and has connections to the area, coming from Island County Sheriff Mike Hawley. Snohomish County detectives are investigating if Yates is connected to the 1987 deaths of British Columbia couple. Now, here's where we get to Tanya. I'm sorry, I kept calling her Tracy. My mistake. It was Tanya Van Cuylenborg and J. Roland Cook. Now, she was found dead November 24th, 1987, shot to death, and dumped in a wooded area near Burlington in Skagit County. Again, Skagit County, just kind of connecting the two. The body of her boyfriend, J. Roland Cook, was discovered 2 days later by hunters 2 miles south of Monroe. He had been strangled. So they found him in Monroe a couple days later. Okay, so this is Monroe. They found him underneath a bridge. Well, there's not many bridges here that I can see in Monroe. It's not that big of a city. Although there is a reptile zoo, and that's kind of cool. But this bridge down over here is kind of what we're seeing, essentially. I'm sure there's other little tiny bridges, so on and so forth. But where would you go hunting? Right? I mean, granted, this is 1987. Again, it's a totally different landscape. I mean, the 1980s in this region were nowhere near as big. My dad used to live in Snoqualmie, which is east of out here. I forget. It's somewhere in this area, but it's kind of like, now it's insane, but back then it was nothing. There's nothing out there. So if they're hunting, they're probably not going to be hunting in Lord Hill Park. They might be hunting in Alborland Park, which now I'm wondering if they named it Alborland after Home Improvement, or they're down over here in Cherry, this region right here, whatever this large forestry region is. But the Borland Park might be it. Woods Creek, right? I mean, it could be something out there. But this is like the only bridge I see. So it looks like this might be it. As for, am I taking suggestions? Yeah, I'm always taking suggestions. mundanematt.com/submit is a good way to send them over to me. So it's something we keep an eye on. Anyway, let's get back over to this here. I just wanted to look at the 2 miles south of Monroe. Let's hold on. 2 miles south of Monroe. Under a bridge. Again, Monroe would have been here. I mean, I don't know if that's 2 miles, but it could be 2 miles underneath a bridge. Other than that, we're not seeing much in terms of bridgeway stuff here, unless there's the Snohomish River right crossing right there. But again, I don't think that's where they're at. But it could be over here. But 2 miles south, but that's kind of southwest. So I don't know. I'm assuming it's that one bridge we were looking at. It just seems to make the most sense to me. Most sure they probably found the body. But then again, I don't know. I don't have access to the information. So, rumor you heard was a friend of a Bellingham cop uncle's buddy. Got a bit frisky, handed off the Monroe cops Kersplash. I'm not too sure what that means. You're going to be a bit more specific there, Terry. So it says here that the couple had been on a trip to Seattle when they were killed. Yates admitted to dumping one of his victims' bodies in Skagit County just months after the Cook Van Cuylenborg murders. He's also being investigated for the death of Patricia Barnes, whose body was found in Kitsap County in 1995. She had been shot. But it doesn't say with what, though. It doesn't say with what kind of gun, because she was killed with a .38 caliber. Right? According to these hold on. There we go. That's right. She was found. They say what it was that she was shot with. No, the other article did. The other article says here that she was shot with a .380 caliber pistol. What is the I don't know what this looks like. A .380 caliber pistol. Take a look. YouTube might deactivate or might demonetize this or boot me off because I'm showing guns. Okay, so it's probably, it's clearly none of these, but that gives you just an idea of what kind of gun he was carrying. They look kind of small. They look relatively concealable. They're not huge. I mean, this guy had something. I mean, look at this here in this guy's hand. It's a bit of a smaller one. It's kind of an odd question, but does the military carry a type .30 guns? Let's see. A service pistol. Huh. Well, maybe not here. Let's it have to be. Hold on. Let's take a quick look. Let's see what's going on because they had 3. Okay, so the Czech Republic uses it. Well, wait, hold on. Germany uses it. Italy uses it. Netherlands uses it. Serbia uses it. Turkey uses it. And that's it. Okay, so obviously that kind of blows my theory out of the water because they're not using it. Service pistols aren't. What was it? 1980 Beretta 9mm? No. Yeah, none of them are using 380 caliber. If I'm saying that correctly. So okay, that blows out of the water. But we have an idea what the gun looked like at least. 38 was a common police round. I guess so. It's not a large round, but it can get the job done, kind of like a 22. The 380s are smaller than 9mm. Okay. So I mean that's obviously something there, like because again this is kind of what I'm going back to here. You have to just, you know, you've got where's that at? Where's Bremerton right here? Freaking mouse work. You know, there's a big ass military base there, and it's one of the only ferry points to get to Seattle. So you know you can see like there's the military base and everything else. I'm not trying to say it's someone in the military, but like it's either a drifter, someone who was well adept with the was well adept in the Alaskan highway system, marine system, or it was you know, this Robert Yates guy, right? So I don't know. So I mean, this is kind of like where if you know, if anyone else has come across anything, you can shoot me an email, and I'll take a look at the link. Oh, Rosantis, thank you very much for pledging $1. And I did see your comment there about what's it called? The one thing. Sorry, the criminal listing, whatever the name of the things. What's it called? Criminally listed. I haven't seen that channel, but I'll check it out. I have to make a drive tomorrow so I could pop it on and take a look at it. So I don't really think I'm going to cover the stabbing in France. I did hear about it. It's pretty sad. 30 years ago, all cops carried issued 38 Smith & Wesson. 6-shot revival. Okay. Let's see here. What would have been like the police at the time? What would have been? We'll just bring this up here. All right. Let's say police service pistol 1980s Washington. Maybe we can find something. Okay. Seattle. I don't know if this is saying anything or not. Let's just take a look. Police sidearms here at Pew Pew Tactical. Don't quite know how I feel about the name of the source. You know, Pew Pew Tactical doesn't really kind of leave me with the best amount of love here for all that. And these are okay. These are clearly not going to give me what I need, which is unfortunate. So I don't know. Ice pick, snap it off. Yeah, because that worked so well in Die Hard 2. So it's interesting. I mean, like, I wonder if I would be able to contact anyone involved, you know, and ask them precisely what they saw, yeah, or what kind of guns they had. I mean, or get access to any of the files. If it's a cold case, if it's actively being researched. When did this one come out? This was from, oh, this is from April. Shit. This was just the other day, man. This was a month ago. So this is an active cold case, which means I would not be able to get access to that particular thing, which is unfortunate. I'd like to be able to get access to those files to take a look, because you could, what it is, if there's an active case investigation, you can't get access to the files. It has to go cold. But if they're reinvestigating it via cold case, it's possible that I won't be able to get my hands on it. So I haven't looked at, you know, we'll take a look at Robert Yates. We'll take a look at Robert Yates real quick and see what we find. Maybe we'll find something here. Let's see here. Robert is not a, okay, hold on. Robert Yates killer. Robert Lee Yates, okay. So, he is still alive. He's 65 years old. Okay. And yet there's no picture of him here, which is really interesting that there's no picture. So we can take a look real quick at the images of Robert Yee. So this is what he looks like. You know, let's okay, Robert Lee Yates. Let's take a kind of a peek here. Let's kind of a thing. It's kind of the same thing, right? I mean, look at the 45. Well, he's 65 now, but look at the, you know. Does that look similar to you guys at all? Right? I mean, you know, do we got a better photo of him right here? That's a bit smaller. That's, okay, this is him. He tried using necrophilia as a defense. That's definitely an interesting title. But, I mean, I'm looking at, I don't know. I don't want to sit there and say that it's 100%, you know, they do look similar, right? They definitely look similar in regards to, you know, some pictures, some angles, they look similar. Let's see if I can find a larger image here. Large. So, okay, so this is him more recently. This would be him around the age of 65. I mean, look at the nose. It's not perfect. I mean, the nose kind of blew out a bit more in the facial hair, but I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Get both in frame. Yeah, I'll have to hold on. I'll have to sit there and bring it up real quick on a, I'll have to, I have to make it a thing real quick. Hold on. I'll have to make an image real quick. It's so hard to bring them both up on frame when I'm just using Firefox. So give me a hot second to do this. Okay, there's that, and we'll. All right, where's this other guy? I'm still working on here. 1 second, we won't use that photo of him. Let's find a better one. This is okay. We'll use this one. It's a bit better of an image. I'm whipping it up right now in Photoshop. I know, compelling live stream here, guys. Okay. All right, one more moment, and okay. So, quickly whip this together in Photoshop. All right, so we can take a look here. The dude has a generic face. It's kind of a generic face. I mean, this is him more recently, as far as I can tell. I don't know if I'd say, like, ultimately they look the same. I mean, granted, this is a DNA composite, but I don't know. I don't know. The nose is bigger, definitely bigger. The eyebrows are thinner and a bit more arched. The eyes are a bit closer together. And I don't know. I don't know if this would be the guy you'd want to consider. I don't know. I don't know if this is the guy or not. But this is I think at this point relatively kind of where we're close enough. Well, you got to be a bit more than just close enough on this one. You have to actually, like, you know, be, you know, it has to be a lot there. But I don't know. I mean, I think it kind of matches enough of the description to where running him against the DNA. Because obviously this guy didn't, you know, this guy clearly is arrested. He's in jail. So what you're saying is Bridget knows as why that could happen if it got broken. Well, yeah, it's possible. I mean, the eyes, though, are kind of like... They gave him green eyes, and it looks like he's got kind of dark green eyes. So, the head is shaped differently, true, but that could also be, again, just the general composite. Let's, here, we'll bring up against the... We'll bring up against the other one here in a sec. Let me just save this off of Photoshop. Okay. So this is this particular one, and then now we've got, hold on, it's not, I know I saved it as a, oh damn it, where did I save it at? Hold on. Didn't save to the right. Oh no, it's there. I don't know what the hell's going on with fire. It's not showing it in my, there we go. Okay, so then this is up against the next one here. So this does look a little bit more similar. The nose is clearly, you know, I feel like the nose is clearly more shaped. The eyebrows look a bit better. You know, I don't know. This, I would say this is more of a comparison. This is more of a, this is him at age 45. Not age 65, but according to his... He's 65 right now, and he's getting 408 years in prison. But I don't know. It's possible that it's him. Holy shit, that's V. It looks a little bit like V. I'm not... Yeah, it does. It does look a little bit like V. So, yeah, this is kind of where things are... Where I've kind of taken this thing at this point. You know, we only have so much information to go on, and we only have so much information that is going to be readily available for people to take a look at. But you know, I figured we could chit chat for a few more minutes. We're almost on an hour stream. These streams are never going to be very long. These are more just informative, like, hey, let's see what we find for an hour. But if I'm going to give my final thoughts on this one, the location from where people speculate, you know, that they were supposed to go versus where they were found, it does say that it does seem like they met somebody in Bremerton on the ferry, the 1016 ferry from Bremerton to Seattle. They never made it to their location to get furnace parts in the morning. 4 days later, her body was discovered in Alger. 2 days after that, his body was discovered in Monroe. Looking at just the evidence presented in terms of where things are from maps and stuff, we can see that clearly Jay was murdered first, dumped in Monroe, probably while Tanya watched. Then from there, they were driven up to Algiers, or whatever it happened, Alger, where there was no one around, remote road. He beat her, raped her, and shot her, and then dumped her body unceremoniously, going as far as to dump her ID and another some extra ammunition 2 blocks away in a tavern. Now, I don't know where that tavern is. It didn't say. I didn't see it on the map, but it gives you an idea that that this was clearly... I think somebody at the tavern probably knows something. This is always just going to give us surface level information, but that's what I'm thinking. From there, he then took the 1977 bronze Ford van that belonged to Jay, traveled north up to Bellingham, northwest, not too far away, but knew that there was a ferry that would take him up the Alaskan Marine Highway System. He ditched the van there, and that was it. Now, he did take some of their personal items, like the 35mm camera, and his Jay's jacket, a black and red jacket. And the jacket was never recovered, but the lens of the camera was 3 years later in a pawn shop in Portland, Oregon. What that tells me is that he traded the camera or traded the lens for whatever, sold it off, and that person then traded it while in a pawn shop. I'm pretty positive along the way, people probably, you know, homeless people meet each other constantly. Homeless people, they trade, they barter, and that's kind of where we find ourselves. And I feel like that's probably where it's at. This person probably escaped up the Alaskan marine highway system. If you want to know my opinion, this person is either a kind of a grifter or a drifter, or, you know what, it could be Robert Yates. It could be Robert Yates because he was active around the same time, dumped a body not too far away, and only a few months away from where Tanya's body was discovered. So in that particular regard, it could be just about whatever. But at the end of the day, this is still a 31-year-old unsolved murder that the further away we get from it, even though they've released a digital composite based upon some DNA that they're able to process, and there is a $50,000 reward in Canada, Canadian money, so only $35,000 American, that is going to expire on December 31st this year. That's kind of where we are right now, because they're not really releasing all the other details that would let us know more about the case in order to further track down who this monster was. Because let's be fair here, guys, that was an absolute monster. So that is this episode of Mundane Mysteries. The VOD of this will be available on Mundane Chats. Link is, I believe, in the video description. If not, I will add it. That's my vlog channel. That will be up there. And then also coming soon, once I get the once I get the actual artwork done and everything else for the channel, then that will be over on its own channel, which I will then link to. And so yeah, I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys enjoyed this trip down the rabbit hole that is the murder of these two kids. And be sure to leave a thumbs up if you guys haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, and I will be also, I think the Discord is linked in the video description too. Okay, yeah, the Discord is linked in there. If you want to jump in the Discord, that is where I will be. I will be there, probably hanging out for a little bit. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys very much. Remember, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Oh yeah, I could use forbidden knowledge. I could use that one. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I could use that and just repurpose it. So yeah, you know what? I probably will do that. Because I don't have to build up a fucking channel. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great night, and sleep well.